I'm thrilled to be here and can't wait to talk AI and stuff. So, the notion that we are just going to give this really shiny, fancy new tool to everyone in the company and all 100,000, even people out in the field who are driving trucks delivering products to grocery stores, they're all of a sudden going to be AI adopters is a fool's errand. If you look at the investment topic and the AI infrastructure discussion, we should be seeing investment that's very significant, certainly not matched. That's impossible and would be ridiculous, but some thoughtful investment into the cultural change of the adoption on how we're working, and even like a re-engineering of how your IT teams and your business teams work together, which traditionally have been strained relationship in most clients that I've been exposed to, right? I've seen we talk about executives and their AI strategy, the word AI will very soon not even be talked about, like the term, because it's just going to be. It is what it just here, right? So we don't talk about using the internet as much anymore, right? We just use it. So AI is very quickly. I mean, I've never seen something happen so fast. But yeah, I do agree. And I think the people who understand how to interact with it to upskill are the ones that are going to shine.
First of all, thank you for listening to our EX Steps podcast, and apologies that I interrupt this episode. I promise I keep it short, but it's quite important and I need your help, please. I've been publishing these podcast conversations for 2 years now, and I see from the statistics that many of you are listening to my podcast on Spotify or Apple, and some of you are watching on YouTube. Thank you for that, and I hope you enjoyed the episode so far. I plan on making more episodes, but in order to do so, as I'm a one-man show, I would like to ask for your help, please. It doesn't cost you anything except for maybe 1 minute of your time. Please subscribe to my podcast on Apple or Spotify and subscribe to my YouTube channel. With your subscriptions, I will be able to reach more listeners, which in turn helps me get further interesting guests for you to listen to. So if you will, it's a win-win. Subscribe, and if you want, you can also leave a like or a comment, or tell me if there's anyone you want me to speak to in one of my episodes. Thank you so much for your support, and now let's start the next episode. Where are we in the state of AI when it comes to enterprise adoption? How much around agentic AI is hype, and what is real, and how could it transform companies? What happened to all the AI investments in the recent years, and how do you make the most of it for your company? And why is this not what you think? Let's talk about this to another veteran in the tech world. A veteran that has worked with many companies in the recent years on AI, but is also rooted deep in big data and the cloud transformation. She has seen and experienced it all and can share what truly matters. Welcome to another Employee Experience Labs podcast from the Munich Podcast studio. Employee Experience Labs podcasts are about HR tech, employee experience, shared services, and other interesting topics around HR at the workplace. Today's episode is in addition to our Startup and AI series we are running. But as I had already alluded to, it is a special one. I was very lucky to get some time with Gloria from Google. Gloria is the lead AI strategist at Google for CPG companies, but she's also an entrepreneur, founder, and angel investor. Gloria, or as many know her, Gogo, and I know each other for some time already, and I was truly excited to have her on my podcast. And what can I say? The recording was even better than I could have ever expected. Gogo and I not only talk about AI, big business, investments, and how to get your AI transformation right, but we also talk about restaurant agents, protein agents, and how AI can transform the way you live today. And not to forget, we have quite some fun on the way. Seriously, I can only recommend watching this episode. Gogo, lead AI strategist CPG at Google. Hello. Welcome, Gloria. It's so fantastic to have you on. I'm really excited to have you today. We know each other for some time, and I wanted to have you on for a long time already. So I'm really excited that it is working out today. I'm looking forward to our conversation. How
I
are
am
you?
so honored, Volker. I was just floored when you asked me, so I'm thrilled to be here and can't wait to talk AI and stop.
And you are on the topic already, Gloria. Yes, we will talk a lot about AI today. It is one of my special episodes around AI where just so much is happening so
So much.
fast and it's
It's
difficult to
unbelievable.
catch up. And this is why I'm extremely excited to talk to you, one of the experts in that field. But before that, Gloria, before we go there, who are you? Who is Gloria Morris? What is your background? What are you doing? And how did you get to where you are today?
Oh, I have, how long is this podcast, Volker? We've got a lot to cover here. No, so, gosh, who am I? First of all, I'm a mom. So I have 3 wonderful children and 2 dogs. I have been in tech for 23 years. Don't tell anyone. Can you cut that part
So
out?
you
Please?
started right out of kindergarten then?
You're right, right. Yeah, I
Phew.
just can't believe it's been that long. But yeah, I've been in tech that long. I'm also a small business owner, which a lot of people don't know,
Mhm, mhm.
which really has given me a lot of different perspective than if I was just working in tech. I
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
apply it to my world, and yeah, so it's been a journey. That's kind of me. I'm an only child. I actually go by Gogo. I'm surprised that you're even calling me Gloria. Who is this Gloria
I
person?
I'm sorry. From now on I will go back to the go-go, but I wanted to, be at my best behavior at the beginning.
No, that's great. It's funny because I tell people that I would be mortified if people knew my nickname was Go-Go as I started in tech 23 years ago.
Really?
It was only probably 6 or 7 years ago where it really stuck,
Okay.
and it's a childhood nickname.
Yeah.
I got it from my mom, God rest her
Nice.
soul. So it's very affectionate
Yeah.
when I hear it because I think of her. But,
Mm. Beautiful.
yeah, it comes from the fact that I was kind of a hyper child. I know it's hard to believe. It's very fitting.
Very hard to believe. I mean,
Yeah. They couldn't find me, I'd be running around. So, yeah, I got the nickname Go-Go because I was always gone and on the go, and it kinda still works, doesn't it?
it does. Absolutely, it does. So what happened in those 23 years of tech?
Oh my gosh. Well, let me just start out by saying I got into tech because I was on the operations side at a client before I
Mm.
was in tech, and I was a super user. I was
Mm.
a huge tech adopter. So, this tech company, I used to work for Teradata. You ever heard of Teradata?
Yeah, of course I know Teradata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got my
Wow.
start in tech with Teradata, which I'm very grateful for. I still have amazing friends that still work there. But all kidding aside, I had to get out of Teradata at some point because somebody called me a pterodactyl.
Ooh.
I didn't like that. I
That
had to keep going with the emerging tech. And to be fair, they've done a great job keeping up. But yeah, I loved working there and started in data warehousing,
Mhm,
did a lot of time in CRM.
mhm.
A lot of people when they think about Teradata, think about just like big hardware and data
Yeah,
warehouse.
yeah, yeah.
They did a lot more than that. So yeah, that's how I kind of got my start and worked with massive clients over the years, organizing their data marts, and went into the Hadoop space after that. You Did you dabble at all in the Hadoop technology? N No? Yeah.
No, that wasn't me.
Okay. Yep. So, yeah, spent a couple of years doing that, and then, yeah, cloud technologies obviously were emerging, and I was very blessed because I was kind of at the seat at the table where I used all clouds. I was
Wow.
exposed to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my background, and I landed at Google Cloud just over 5 years ago.
Amazing. And now you are the lead AI specialist at Google for the CGP companies. This is fantastic.
Yes, it's a big job change.
Yeah.
It happened about 5 months ago. So,
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, me being an early adopter my whole life of tech, my whole life, like, even when I was in, like, grade school, I was always tech forward, and when I went to a conference earlier this year
Yeah.
and learned about all of the stuff we were doing, in AI and how it was gonna be a focus, I needed to make a change, and
Yeah.
that's how I got here, and it's been awesome because I've worked in CPG with
Mhm.
CPG clients the last 5 years. Um, this now allowed me to broaden that scope, so now I work
Yeah.
across, like, 87 CPG clients,
Phew.
but yeah, so it's a lot, it's a lot. My head is spinning every day.
I can imagine. You also said you are a small business owner. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh. So, I have had a spa business for the
Ooh,
last decade,
nice.
um, kind of a spa. It's more of a wellness it was more of a wellness center. I
It's
didn't
still
like to call
nice.
it a spa because, it kind of gives it a label, and
Okay,
then you've got something in
okay,
your mind as to what it is. It
okay.
was really a wellness concept, and we had
Yeah.
sensory deprivation tanks. Have you ever been in a sensory deprivation tank, Volker?
You see, this is a now I have to out myself. There's one thing I can't do. It's small spaces. I'm totally claustrophobic. I freak out.
Okay. I am going to put a challenge out to you. Just work with me here. You look
Okay.
very intense right now and nervous.
Yeah, I
The
am.
the good news for you is I won't be strong arming you to come to Float 60, which was my business because I just closed all of them after 10 years, which is a story for another day. But I I would say it was a life-changing experience for me.
Okay.
I was in tech for, a significant amount of time before I tried a sensory deprivation tank. And, being in tech, we're always on. We're always stimulated by something, right? We've
Yeah,
always got
yeah, yeah.
something coming at us. So I tried this sensory deprivation tank experience just over 10 years ago. And I would say it changed my life so much that I, within 9 months, started this business
Your
and opened
business.
my
Yeah,
first
yeah.
location in downtown Chicago where people really need to relax. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would just challenge you because the perception of the tanks as they were back in the day, they were small and confined, very
Mhm.
intimidating, and that certainly was my first experience, being in a smaller one, but now they have very spacious ones where it's more like a room or like a personal pool,
Okay, okay.
so it's not closed in and claustrophobic, so that was feedback we would get all the time, Volker, and you'd be
Yeah.
surprised at how many people, actually embraced the experience and
Really?
got through that. So,
Okay,
yeah, highly recommend it.
good. Coco, it's a deal. Next time we see each other, I'll make time for it and you recommend where I need to go.
I will. I know tons of people all over the world who have these businesses, so
I can imagine. And last but not least, you are an angel investor.
yes, I, have been well, before I go into that, I do have another business. Um, for those that know me, I'm married for the last, 9 years, and my husband is a former professional athlete. So he has been in the sports business
Yeah,
for his whole life.
yeah.
I have this wellness business, and we had a baby, Volker. We had a business baby, and so
That's
we have
nice.
this massive sports complex. It's 8.5 acres,
Ooh.
and so we have sports training, performance training. We've got mental performance training.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm actually sitting in my podcast studio because that was one condition when we built out this place,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that took multiple years, that I would have this podcast studio, and here I am using it. So, yes.
Amazing.
So, fast forward, yes, now that I've got the brick and mortar itch behind me,
Mhm.
I vowed to say I would never open another brick and mortar business myself. I now invest in other people's businesses. So, I have about 9 or 10, angel
Wow,
investments,
wow.
One is a real estate investment,
Mhm.
actually 2, and then the other ones are in various other sectors. Some of them are in tech. So very,
Fantastic.
very big part of my life, and I'm trying to actually start
Always busy, always searching
that,
something, always doing something.
hence the name Go Go.
Yeah,
I
it's the
live
name
up
Go
to it
Go.
to the fullest. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it's been amazing because being in these different business ventures, I have a bird's eye view on all of the different ways that technology impacts them, helps them, hurts them. They're
Yeah,
not using it in the right way. So,
yeah,
yeah, it brings me a very unique perspective to my job as an
I
AI
can imagine.
specialist for sure.
I can imagine. Yeah, and let's go there, go. Let's go there, right? Don't want to talk to you too much about your businesses and your angel investments, but really want to zone in onto AI today. I'm currently having an update series around AI. I've just spoke to an AI investor, a VC founder who is focusing on AI investments, and I'm really keen to understand the AI business side a bit more. I would like to talk to you about this. When we go back, we know each other already for some time, and
Yeah.
when you just go back in your mind, let's say like 12 months, and what happened in the last 12 months. What what from your perspective has happened both when it comes to AI development, but also when it comes to what you see AI projects and adoption in companies?
Being at Google the last 5 years, I can say I've always been in AI,
Yeah.
right? So, what's interesting is that a lot of people think it's new and there's a lot of newness to it, to be fair.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
being at Google, I've lived
yeah.
in an AI world and helped people from more of an AI ML ops
Yeah.
perspective back in the day. Now it's got center stage, is the front runner, right? So
Yeah.
everything we do is embedded, but it's been pretty fascinating to see the impact of how
Mhm,
people work,
mhm,
the
mhm.
impact of how people either embrace it or repel from it. I'm seeing that even in my coworkers,
Really?
there's some trepidation with certain tools, and
Okay.
I just wrote an article, I don't know if you saw this, Volker, but I'll send it to you, it was just a couple
Yeah.
days ago, about AI work slop. Have you heard that term?
No, I haven't heard
Nope.
that, John. Tell me more about it.
So, there's a ton of podcasts out there that are talking about this, it kind of I think was coined around all of the media that was coming out, the AI slop. You're just seeing tons and tons of media videos and things like that. And you're not able to really decipher what's real and what's not, what's
Yeah,
quality, what's not. It's just
yeah.
the influx of a lot of information. And this is my definition, certainly not Google's, but I was speaking more in this newsletter about work slop.
Mhm, mhm,
So, what we're seeing and what I'm personally seeing as a business owner too, this is kind of how it came up, is this influx of people reaching out
mhm,
or people performing work tasks
mhm,
using AI,
mhm.
whether it's approved in their company or not, and then putting it out there as if it shouldn't be edited or personalized in any way.
Okay.
So it's like you can detect. I don't know if you've ever experienced this where you can detect where somebody just sent
Yeah,
something over and they didn't even
yeah, yes,
take a
yes,
look at it to see if it
yes,
really
yes,
made sense. So
yes.
I'm feeling that more
Mhm.
and more. In the small business example is I got a
People
proposal
get
from
lazy.
somebody. Yeah, yeah. I got a proposal from somebody and it was so perfect and so thought through. My initial reaction was like, this is not genuine. It can't be that perfect,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
so I kind of tested it in through a question over the ledge,
Yeah,
and this was via text to this person who was proposing something to me,
yeah, yeah,
and it was a one-sentence question, and I
yeah.
got, like, 4 paragraphs back within seconds.
I mm.
So it just kinda got under my skin, and I
Mhm.
so When I think of the definition of the word work slop, I think of people just using the tools, being lazy, not having the human intervention that it takes to actually be a thought partner.
Yeah.
So that's a phenomenon that I'm
Wow.
seeing. That this is
Interesting.
less about, the big
Yeah.
business enterprise conversation, but I think it's important to put it out there, right? And
Yeah.
I'm just
Send me
curious,
the
are you
link
seeing that too?
to the post and I'll put it in the
Yeah,
show notes. Yeah.
well, will do for sure. Have you experienced this observation in your own role with AI work slop? Now that I'm calling it out, does it sound familiar?
I have to admit I didn't think about it. Um, so nothing that
That's
directly
good.
comes to mind in no, you know what? I do. These are so I get and I get emails and contact requests from people who want to be featured on the podcast. And some of this I now that I think about it, it must be AI generated because it takes like one or two sentences of the first 5 minutes of my last podcast or a posting, and then tries to write something about it that fits. And I
Right.
got this a few times from the same person slash startup to reach out and thought like sounds weird.
Yeah, and it's a struggle because you want people to adopt,
Yeah,
and it's there to help you, right? And it is there to help personalize that information. But I think where we have to be super careful is if it feels like we've lost the human connection
yeah,
and that we're talking robot to robot,
yeah.
right? Um, that's where I think there's a cautionary tale in terms of how you craft information.
Exactly, and I think it's one step further, right? When you write someone an email or something directed to someone, there should be still a personal note to it. Like it's not that
Yes.
I can send the same message to anyone. If you
Yeah,
send it to me, it should be to me, right? And
that's
and
right.
the way if you do that slurp, it's exchangeable.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's one observation. Going back to, your question about
Yeah.
what we're seeing, the adoption
Tell me.
framework, the adoption is it's tough because there's mandates
Yeah.
that these companies have to bring AI into their enterprise, and a
Mm.
lot of, uh, just observations I'm making and speaking across multiple C-level
Yeah.
CPG
Yeah.
leaders is there's definitely intent to want to do it, but the actual execution of it is still on shaky ground. There's great ideas, but the plan to execute and measure the ideas are kind of falling short. And I know there's been some studies out there. There was one that was referred to, the MIT study. I don't know if
Mm.
you've heard about this, but it was a
Yes.
very small. They're learning like the ROI isn't there. That was kind of the headline, but the sample size was very, very small in this
Mm.
particular thing. So I do think there's tons of ROI that is out there for businesses that have started on their journey, but it's not being measured
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
managed because everybody's running so fast to get the next shiny thing
Yeah.
or now implement the next super complicated agent that we're kind of missing the baby steps along the way that could have
Yeah.
made very impactful differences,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of I don't know if that answers your question, but that's an
It
overall perception of mine.
Yeah, if you allow me, I would like to break this down a bit. What I see in and referring to what you just shared is basically there are some companies who still don't know how and where and what, and they continue to trying to figure it out from the back seats. Um,
Yeah.
then you have companies that are you know trying to adopt AI because of AI's sake, and they are not too successful, and they're not the ones that you have just lined out, right? You have the right use case, you have the right problem where AI is a fitting tool to bring in the automation, the additional speed of information or whatever it is, and this is where the ROI is. And what I've also observed is that it's it's not the technology that is the issue if it's not working. It is
Yes.
either the wrong use case or it is the organization not being ready from a, you know, acceptance and adoption perspective.
100%. I go back to my days in data warehousing too.
Yeah.
It's an age-old problem, this adoption problem. In
Mhm,
fact,
mhm.
Volker, this is a fun fact that most people don't know about me. In 2012, I went back to DePaul University for my master's, and I was
Yeah.
gonna go the MBA route.
So you did
Um,
with 18 your masters already?
yeah. I know, can you believe it? It's hard to believe. So when I went to DePaul, I was looking for a very specific I remember feeling that adoption problem with whatever it was back
Yeah.
then. I think it was the big data. The
Yeah,
big
yeah.
data craze was going on back then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
That was the buzzword of like the 2012, 2013, if that's right. And I created a curriculum. I worked with the advisor team at DePaul and said, I don't want to do the traditional MBA because
Mhm,
I want to
mhm.
do something specific and there's an adoption problem. So I literally created a curriculum for tech adoption because this is an age-old
It
problem. Yeah,
is,
you
it
you
is.
didn't you didn't know that, right? It
No.
was very hard to
Tell me
find.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very hard to find. I actually did part of the study, part of the program in India,
Wow.
and it became much more focused on leadership
Mhm,
and
mhm.
culture
Mhm.
because that's really where the adoption
Exactly.
originates,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So I think there's so many great ideas on all of these very sophisticated agentic use cases that
Yeah,
people come up with,
yeah.
but how will the people change the way they do their work?
Mhm,
How will they
mhm.
embrace it? That's really where the rubber hits the road. And so what I've been doing a lot in this last couple of months is talking about, like, day 1 value,
Mhm.
quick wins,
Yeah, yeah,
then moving more to strategic wins,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
When
yeah,
you're, like, going on this journey with us.
yeah.
So, I love it because it allows us to go on a journey together, and I think we're all on the journey. Like, I almost laughed and spit out my water when you called me an expert, and I know by title I'm a specialist, but every day is a new thing,
Of course, Gogo,
right?
but come on, all your experience and what you just pulled out of the head again. I had no idea that you did your masters in tech adoption. That's I mean, this is the the topic of the year every year for the last I don't know how many years, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you
No.
probably know that study, right? There is I think it is a McKinsey study. The reason why tech implementations or digital transformations fail is in 80% of the cases not the technology, but it
Yep.
is the adoption. It's the human part of it.
That's right. That's right. And I'm guilty of this myself personally.
Oh,
When again I look at the way that I operate,
yeah.
I do have the shiny objects syndrome. I can't even tell you how many
Who
apps
doesn't?
I
It's
have.
difficult.
Not everybody, like, people not everybody gets as excited, I don't think,
Yeah.
about this stuff as I do just in my circle, right? I
Yeah,
think a
yeah.
lot of people think I'm a freak, but, like, I'm into the vibe coding, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know how many apps I have on my phone, and God forbid we add up how many subscriptions I have for different apps, right? But, so it's not easy to stay focused in a world
Yeah,
where you've got so much coming at you, which is why I go back to the sensory deprivation tank and why it's so
yeah,
important
yeah,
in my life, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's helped me. But when I think about enterprises, Volker,
yeah.
every single enterprise partners coming
Mhm.
at these leaders with what they should be doing or what tool they have. And
Mhm.
my DNA going back to data management is really at its core, like it's happening again, right? The
Mm.
proliferation of data marts back in the 90s and
Yeah.
the mid 2000s,
Yeah.
it's happening now with AI tools and agents and things like that. So as I look at where I love being at Google because we have for 25 years organized the world's information and made it universally useful. Like we're taking that same approach with managing your AI
Mhm.
and your agents
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that thing because it takes a lot to be organized in that
Yeah.
regard. So, not to make this a commercial because that's not what this is, but I guess it could kind of be one. But no, it's something I believe we're just really, really in our core so good at.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, there's truly a point there. And then I wonder, I was just, as I said at the beginning, I was just recently talking to a VC founder who is specialized in AI investments, and what he said, and would like to get your opinion on that. He said, Volker, we are entering the next step, the next age where kind of the AI is almost becoming the commodity, but how you adopt and adapt it to solve the business problem, this is the next big thing where the startups, the ideas, the companies need to focus on, and what is difficult for many because they don't know how to phrase and how to bring it out that way.
Right. Yes, I could not agree more. I think, when we talk about executives and their AI strategy, the word AI will very soon not even be talked about, like
Yeah.
the term,
Term, yeah.
because it's just gonna be. It is what
Mhm,
it is.
mhm.
It's just here, right? So, we don't talk about using the internet as much
No.
anymore, right? We just use it.
How?
So, AI is very quickly I mean, I've never seen something happen so fast.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, I do agree. And I think the people who understand how to interact with it to upskill are the ones that are going to shine, right? So this is something I'm very evangelistical about at work and in my circles, even in
Mhm,
my
mhm.
community, right? When I hear a lot of people have the negative sentiments about AI, of course, there's negative for sure. But if we focus on what it can do to help, it's a different lens,
Yeah,
right? So what can
absolutely.
you do? And I've got a 25-year-old son, a 28-year-old daughter. Again, I know so hard to believe, right, Volker? Gosh, people are not going to
I don't
believe that
know
this maybe
how this
I'm
from a
AI.
biology perspective actually worked.
Maybe it's AI. I don't know. Maybe I'm not real.
Oh, yes. Are you? Well, I met you
Uh,
in person. You are real. I'm sorry.
yes, I am real. I am real. But yeah, I'm trying to teach them
Mhm.
that you can't resist it. They're kind of in the bubble, right? Because they are in their mid-20s, they didn't grow up with it. They
Yeah,
too have seen the phenomenon,
yeah,
but
yeah.
even at work with my fellow Googlers, I'm asking them, are you using this? How are you using this? Are you
Mhm,
using it
mhm.
personally in your
Yeah,
personal life?
yeah,
And I think that's how it's going to help us get to what you're talking about is how to interact with it, how to upskill
yeah,
'cause in theory, everything should get better at a baseline,
yeah,
and then the real people who have the skills can bring it to a new level,
yeah, yeah.
right? I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it all shakes out.
Oh, it definitely will be. And, with that speed of light that it's currently going on, I think in a year from now, we will know.
Yeah,
Because it's so quick. But,
yeah,
Gogo, let me pivot a bit, and if you don't mind, even a bit, closer to home for you when you will. When I think about the hype around generative AI a year ago and all the investments that were made and are still being made, right? I think, um, OpenAI has a new evaluation, 500 billion or something like this. I heard yesterday or so. So
Yes.
it continues to be numbers that a person like me can hardly even figure out how many zeros
Yeah.
there are and how I write that.
Right.
But it's
Right.
it's crazy. Now, looking at all of these investments, the question for me is, are we kind of in a, you know, internet hype situation where there's a lot of money going into, but it's not yet clear where that money is returned, the investment is returned, or where are we going? I mean, if I look at, companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, I honestly have the question, the the business numbers, the economic numbers, they are great, but are they great because or in spite of the AI investments?
So I look at this in a way that I go back to my day job and my way of interacting with executives at
Yeah.
these, Fortune 500 companies. They're necessary. And I
Mhm.
do think that the investments are worth it depending upon what they are. I think when we look at building something out, depends on where you are in your journey, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm, mhm.
there are going to be a lot of individual point solutions out there, just like there were very niche softwares back in the day, which
Yeah,
led to this proliferation of
yeah,
data going everywhere,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I keep going back to that because it just feels so familiar,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
really does. So if I'm an executive at a big organization like my
Mhm.
clients, I am being very thoughtful and very cautious about what my IT teams are spending their time doing
Yeah,
today as it relates to building their own AI
yeah,
engines,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you need to leverage the power of the big tech companies out there that are building these incredibly powerful models
Mhm.
that, then will be infused into various parts of your organization, whether do build something yourself or you work with your
Right.
partners.
Mhm.
So I have seen a lot of spend on designs and builds in my
Mhm,
time.
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
so now, as I think about what I would be spending my money on if I was in that C suite, I would be saying, okay, let's look at a framework of prioritization
Yeah.
and what business problems are the ones that we have traditionally had a very hard time solving
Solving.
for,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And start with a fresh slate. Like, don't just improve on what you're already doing. Like, start over.
Yeah,
Get that blank piece of paper and say, if you could start from scratch,
yeah, yeah.
how would you attack this business problem?
Problem. Mhm.
Not not spend all of the money building something from scratch,
Mhm, mhm.
right? And this is where I think the agentic era really plays in because now you can build very purposeful, meaningful agentic tools that solve for big business problems.
Mm.
And you have to think about how you're going to organize all of that, right? Which is where again I think Google is going to be really well positioned. But I don't know if that's answering your question. I want to make sure people are thinking about a completely different way of doing things than they've been traditionally doing them,
Yeah.
right? Because if you go back to the adoption question, you've traditionally had these very incredibly large IT teams building out things from scratch, spending tons of money, causing great frustration between business and IT. You're laughing. Does this sound familiar to you at all?
It does sound familiar, and you know what's coming to mind there? I have to admit it is some time ago, but I was talking with the CIO, when he had his last day before going into an early but retirement. And he said, Volker, you know what we were good at? We were good at implementing new technologies
Right.
and keeping the old process and ways of working,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yes.
And this is exactly how you describe, this is how you waste investment and
Yes.
are exactly not creating value.
Yeah, and I almost think if you look at the investment topic and the AI infrastructure discussion,
Mm.
we should be seeing investment that's very significant,
Yeah.
certainly not matched. That's impossible and would be ridiculous, but some thoughtful investment into the cultural change
Yeah.
of the adoption on how we're working, and
Yeah.
even like a re-engineering of how your IT teams and your business teams work together, which
Mhm.
traditionally have been strained relationship in most clients that I've been
Mhm.
exposed to, right? I've seen
Mhm.
amazing examples um, where that's not the case too. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's time to start from scratch.
I agree, Coco, but there's one thing that I miss, and I'm not sure how you see this. Maybe I'm just not, open enough to blind for it. But what you describe, I absolutely agree. And what is missing for me, I always describe it from my perspective. I'm an HR guy, um, and the tech guy, yeah. But I always think that when it comes to AI and HR, there are two things. There's AI for HR, and this is, utilizing the latest and greatest models and solutions to improve HR technology. But then there's also HR for AI, which is exactly what you talk about, the support of adopting AI, of adjusting the organization to, I don't know, incorporate AI agents into the workforce and into the structure, put up rules and regulations of how do you operate, how do you make the most of that. And
Yes.
this piece, HR for AI, I I hardly see any upskilling, any conversations, any discussions about it. All AI discussions that I see are about a product or an investment or a new
Yes.
model. But the conversation, the adoption conversation, and how the HR function needs to help transform organizations to embed, adopt, and adapt AI is is small or not even existent.
100%. I was just having
Damn
this
it.
I
Unfortunately,
know.
you say,
I know.
I was hoping that you said
It's an
like, no, fuck,
opportunity.
just didn't see it.
No, no, I think you are spot on. I'm very lucky, and I know you've met some of our HR folks at Google. Like
Yeah,
we are very thoughtful
yeah,
about these things. So I
yeah,
have been having a lot of conversations about how the HR team at Google kind of
yeah,
uh, tackles this.
yeah.
But let's bring it down to a very, you know, very small starting point. When we unleash tools and we say, "Okay, teammates, go do your
Here you
AI
go.
with this."
Yeah,
Like, I was having this conversation yesterday with our value team,
yeah,
which I love that we have this team. They're brilliant minds, and we think about these things philosophically versus just product. So,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
and was having this conversation about guided versus open
Mhm,
prompting.
mhm, mhm,
If you don't lead somebody who doesn't think this way
mhm.
with a couple of guides, you are just so behind the 8 ball with that one individual in your
Yeah,
company.
yeah,
So the notion that we are just going to give this really shiny fancy new tool to everyone in the company and all 100,000 even people out in the field who are driving trucks delivering products to grocery stores, they're all of a sudden going to be AI adopters is a fool's errand,
yeah.
right? Because we have to actually get the inspiration, like, figure out what can they do different, what's in it for them.
Mhm, mhm.
Because the other I think, challenge that we're seeing is the perception that AI is Big Brother, and
Mhm.
now they're going to be
Yeah.
monitoring every move I make,
Yeah.
which
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's always been a I had another client's, presentation where we were talking about this very thing, and
Yeah.
I loved this leadership team. Um, they're based out of Mason, Ohio. I won't
Mhm.
give the name, but they were, very old company. They were thinking about it the right way, and
Mm.
it was like, how do we get the employees to understand how this will make their lives easier,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
will in turn make things more productive,
Yeah.
right? So there's something in it for everyone. But that's how the adoption needs to start. That conversation is, what's in it for me? And
Mm.
this is why oftentimes I'll say, start with your learning journey at home.
Mhm.
How are you
Mhm.
personally using AI to make
Yeah.
your life easier? And that
Yeah.
opens like neural pathways somehow
Mm.
to get you thinking differently at work. That, at least
Yeah.
for me, that's how I've been learning, by doing and
Yeah.
creating like restaurant food agents. Volker, have we ever talked about that? I think we did.
No, now you have to
We
tell
didn't?
me what are your food agents? Tell
Oh
me.
my gosh, I love this so much. Okay, I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
Love to eat at those restaurants where you just get stuff and don't order off menus. In fact, that's like a calling card of Go-Go's. Anytime, and people know this from years back, all of my clients out there, if you're listening to this, even from 20 years ago, this is my style. I will take clients out to dinner, or I go out to dinner, and I will not look at the menu, and I will say to the server, "Surprise me."
Go. This is
Eh,
stop sign number 2 for me.
"Oh, no, Volker. I need to work on you." So you're like a meat and potatoes guy, always ordering the same
Not
thing.
not the same thing, but I need to be in control of what I'm ordering.
Oh god. Let the control go. Open your mind and your palates and your mouth. So, okay, going back to this.
Mm.
I have never, and I say never, Never, I've never been disappointed, because why? You do this, and now it puts the, pressure on that server to not
Yeah.
just bring you the most expensive thing, and oftentimes I'll say, "It doesn't need to be the most expensive thing, don't take advantage of me, but make sure it's the best thing."
Mm,
What does
mm,
everybody talk about here? What does
mm,
everybody
mm.
have to try? So, fast forward to my agent now.
Yeah.
I have built this no code agent
Yeah.
that connects with Google Maps, and I basically have built the instructions. You give it a name, you give it a goal. The goal
Yeah.
is to enlighten me with new places in new cities when I travel. The
Okay.
instructions are, it has to have so many reviews, it
Yeah.
has to be a kind of a mom and pop, not a chain.
Yeah.
So there's criteria I put
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
really nothing I won't eat. And so I've got it built so that all I have to do is go to my like agent space, and I hit GoGo's culinary agent, hit the button. And then if I'm traveling to Toronto list of 10 places will come up with the recommended dishes,
Yeah.
a link to their site. Now with Agentic, they're like really making it Agentic.
Mhm.
I can, eventually just have my agent
Do the
make the
booking.
reservation for
Mm,
me, right? Maybe prepay for my
mm,
my
mm.
my my meal, right? So, an example, silly one maybe to some, but it's a real life
It,
example of how
yeah.
I'm adopting AI into my life
Yeah.
and making
In a
it more
fun
interesting.
way, but
A
still
fun way.
in a kind of efficient way, right? It
Yeah.
helps you focus on other things, gets your work done, and you know there's something waiting for you that makes you happy at the end of the day, and you
Yes.
did not have to invest too much time to get to it.
Zero time.
Yeah.
0 time. Took me no time. And
Yeah.
the element of surprise is always a delight for me. So you're not a surprise guy, are you?
No.
No. No. I think I figured this out after we had, our group we had a team dinner at one point. I think I noticed this about you. I made a mental note of it, so, yeah.
Let's
Oh,
let's
well.
let's not go into the details of what this mental note means. If this means like
Different
I
strokes for
respect or
different
is
folks.
like I will convert him.
No, it's your journey. I'm not gonna change your mind. Yeah. But yeah, I think, adopting people
Yeah.
ask, "What are the best trainings?" I'm like, "Don't do any trainings.
Hmm.
Just go do."
Yeah, if you need a training for AI, unfortunately, then it's and you are not a deep tech person, then there's something wrong.
Yes.
You should not need
Yep.
to. Yeah.
I mean, just do it.
Yeah.
There's a shoe company out there that used to use that as their slogan. Um,
Mm.
it's it applies here. Just do it. Just go do it. Go
Yeah.
try things, fail,
Yeah.
fail, 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 try, try,
Mm.
try,
Mm.
iterate, partner, right? It's so exciting. It really is an exciting time
Yeah.
for the adoption. But back to the enterprise discussion, super important to instill a curiosity culture
Mhm.
in your environment. Otherwise, you're going to get AI slop, right?
Yes.
Work slop.
Yes.
Work slop is not good. It ruins credibility and trust and all kinds of things. So it's a
Yeah.
delicate balance, but it starts at the executive level of,
Yeah.
how are they going to change the culture?
It does. It does. Go well, let me I think I know the answer from everything that you just shared, but I wanted to circle a bit to this topic again, agentic AI, right?
Mhm.
I think that's currently the latest trend, agentic AI. And where 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 do you see agentic AI? Is this something that is hyped, overhyped, or ready to get out there and bring in what many people believe is truly the next level of efficiency because it's not only, reactive, but it can be, proactive and do things for you.
I think that's the distinction. And for people who aren't, and there's a lot of people who don't hear these terms, right?
Mm.
So I don't know exactly who your listeners are, but I know I was in a group of executives the other day, and very few of them had even heard the word agentic AI. So
Okay.
not everybody understands what this is. So when you think about the evolution of AI in the most recent years, you started with LLMs.
Hmm.
So everybody,
Large language models.
yep, everybody heard the term LLM, finally figured out it meant large language models. I remember being it wasn't that long ago for me that
Yeah,
that
it's fast.
came up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we're like, "Oh, we gotta keep up with that." Then we heard about the platforms. We've got, your Chat GPT, which now is like Kleenex, right?
yeah,
It's it's not the only AI brand out there. I've joked before. But now so that's like step 2.
yeah.
Step 3 is agents, and then step 4 is like really moving to this agentic AI, way of life.
Universe. Mm.
So, just for people who don't understand the difference between AI and agentic AI, you've got tools that can help you actually find information and research, right? So, me, even with my restaurant agent, it's not really an agent until it can actually do something
Hmm.
for me. It's
Hmm.
really bringing together research, which is where we've all kind of got our training wheels on.
Yeah.
So, when we talk about agentic AI, it is the next level where this AI has a set of tools and it knows what tool to use and when and how to use it. And it has the authority to actually do stuff for you. So I use the analogy of, you're going to Rome and you want to put together a list of all the things that are must sees. A lot of people have been using AI for
Yeah,
trip
yeah.
planning.
Trip planning, exactly. Yeah,
Now let the AI be your travel agent.
yeah,
That is the next level. It will
yeah,
book your flights. It has your credit card information.
yeah,
We just announced the agent payment protocol, right? So that's something I know that's all in the news in the last 2 weeks. So
yeah.
that's how it's going. Is the hype real? I think the hype is absolutely real
Mhm.
because we are now able to look at things that have been the bane of our existence,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
pushing paper
Yeah,
and administrative stuff that we hate.
yeah,
Some people, depend on that for their jobs. So their jobs need to change, right? So
yeah,
I also cringe inside when we automatically think AI will replace people's jobs, but it's definitely going to change your job,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you're nervous about that, figure out how to be the expert and how it changes your job
Yeah.
because you will be one of the few.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's so powerful because we will finally have the actual means to remove mundane tasks from people. And let's face it, some of those jobs make people miserable.
Fully with you.
Like,
Fully with
right?
you.
If
And we
I
shouldn't
can have an
forget that we
infant do
also,
my
yeah, we will have
yeah,
less and less people who can work, because unfortunately we're making enough babies. Um, so absolutely. The
yeah,
the question, Google, that comes to mind for me is: will we use this opportunity to really go forward, or will we fail on this opportunity and just create more administrative and mundane tasks? Because now it's not on us anymore, but because we are creating more and more of this, the agent is extremely busy, and still we can't get the next level of growth and efficiency out of it because we are becoming sloppy and are creating more and more of these mundane tasks.
I think the answer is both.
Mm.
I think you're going to have the organizations that will thrive because they focused on execution and how it would change the culture and
Yeah,
how it would evolve and maybe create new opportunities that weren't there. It's not just about replacing mundane tasks, it's about creating net new
yeah,
opportunities. One thing that I've seen that is so powerful, Volker, that I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up on this call.
yeah.
We work in CPG, consumer
Hmm.
packaged goods, and there's this whole opportunity to change the dynamic between how a CPG and a retailer work together now, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
thinking about agents to agents,
Hmm.
A2A acronym, can you imagine a world where there is automation and communication between a CPG and a retailer? I saw it with my own 2 eyes, 2 of my clients.
Yeah,
Actually, one is my colleague's client because they cover retail, I
yeah,
cover CPG.
yeah,
But seeing 2 agents come together on the virtual screen
yeah.
and connect about inventory levels and placing an order in an automated fashion was like magic.
That is magic. Yeah,
Magic. Now imagine doing that on every level in every domain, from
yeah,
supply chain to manufacturing to content creation.
yeah,
It is profound
yeah,
how things will work together.
yeah,
And even
yeah.
bringing it back to people,
Hmm.
even me going to one place and saying, "Go needs a day off.
Yes.
November 9th. That's her birthday. Give her the day off." And not going to work day or going to whatever your
Well, first of all,
system is, right?
figuring out where to go,
Yes.
then figuring out what to do, then
Yes.
figuring out how to do it there,
Yes.
you know? Yeah.
Isn't it a dreamy state? So maybe I am Pollyanna here. I do believe. It's my job, right? I
Yeah.
believe it though, but I genuinely believe that with the right execution and culture,
Mm.
the agents will change the way we work between
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah,
between
they
businesses,
will.
and yeah, I think it's worth it. I think if you're not doing it as a business executive, you're behind.
I agree. I agree. I absolutely agree. The potential here is real, and as you say, I've seen it as well. I've seen it in other places, but I've seen it as well, how powerful this is and how, not even rocket science it is.
Yeah,
You don't need a lot of new different skills of building an AI or something. It is that the AI is the commodity. You need to have the right business problem and then apply the agent to it, and it works. It's I'm always saying it's the greatest time ever to be in the role that I am and talk about HR technology, because the pace of change is tremendous. The pace of innovation is even faster. And every day, coming back to it, every day there's a new bling bling. yes, you need
That's
to
right.
figure out what are those bling blings makes a difference, absolutely. And maybe this is the hurdle that we have to cross. But these ideas, the excitement and the possibilities through that, they are just amazing.
Agreed. Agreed. It's definitely the best time to be in tech, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
it is.
It's, but you have to be on your game because
Yes,
you better drink a lot of coffee or whatever is your, your choice to keep you awake, and, it's a ride. Every
it
day I
is.
feel like I'm in kindergarten learning new words for the first time, and it keeps you humble, right? It's a very humbling role that we play in together.
It is. But it's a joyride.
Yeah.
And with this Gogo, I have to say, I'm sorry. Time is running out. You have no idea. When we have fun, time is going away. It's already an hour that we are talking. So I have to be,
What?
also
They're
careful of the
right.
time that I have already used from you. And it's such a great conversation. But maybe one last question.
Sure.
So when you think about the future, and let's say AI in 5 years from now, what will it mean for enterprises and what will it mean for humans?
It's hard to imagine, but I think about this often.
Yeah.
Um, I go back to what I said earlier. We won't even be talking about AI in 5 years.
Mm,
It's just going to be part of our DNA, just like eating our breakfast, right?
yeah.
Um, my hope let's talk about my hope.
Yeah.
My hope is that we find the human core competency
Yeah.
in coexistence with AI,
Yeah.
because I think in the lack of that, it'll be a very different existence that I can't even wrap my head around, right?
Mm,
Um, I think fundamentally everything will be completely different in 5 years in terms of how companies are structured. I think how we, interact with each other, what we
mm,
tolerate as
mm,
acceptable and not tolerable. I think our standards will be higher.
mm, mm.
Um, hopeful. But yeah, to answer the question, it's there's a lot of people smarter than me that probably have a much better answer. I am just going to be going along for the ride. I don't know if that's the best answer, Volker,
It
but
was
I'm just hoping
honestly,
for
it's
a
a
a
exactly.
human
Yeah.
feel that we have in 5
Yeah.
years.
That's a nice answer, and I really appreciate it. No, Gogo, thank you so much for a great conversation. Time flew by. I have
It
no
did.
idea how that happened,
I
but
don't
thank you
either.
so much for your time.
Thank you, Volker. It's been a
Have
pleasure.
a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.